Hey, what's going on there, Dice Rollers? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. And today, I want to share with you some data that might help you become a better Dungeon Master. D&D Beyond has released their 2023 statistics based on what people were playing, names, and so forth. And so I thought I'd share that with you today and maybe offer some tips on how this could help you become a better Dungeon Master. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so here we are, 2023 Unrolled, a look back at a year of adventure over here on D&D Beyond. I'll put a link down below if you wish to go look at the article for yourself. And right at the very top, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but Maps is there. That's the newest feature of D&D Beyond where you can run maps. If you want to see that, by the way, I'll put a link up top there. I did a video where I show me using the maps, and so you can check that out for yourself. So as far as maps go, it looks like 180 million characters or NPCs were played using maps, and 88 million monsters were fought or befriended. So if nothing else, this tells you that digital maps are a thing. I like digital maps, and I am one of the people who did not give up their D&D Beyond accounts. I'm a professional dungeon master, and cutting off D&D Beyond would just be like, cutting off potential income. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I think this is a bit of a flex that says, hey, look at our maps and look how many people are using them. I like their maps. I also use Roll20. And so digital maps are not an impediment for me. And they shouldn't be for you either. If you can run a map on a table, you can run a map on a screen. It's not that too much different in the sense of a setup because you're working with tokens just like you would work with figures. And so I would say don't let digital maps stand in the way of you running epic games. Give it a shot. Give it a try. Go on there and just fool around with it. You don't even have to run a game until you're ready to run a game. Just go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to just get on there, fool around with it. Get a friend, one or two who are really your good friends, and run some scenario with them and say, hey, give me a try with this so I can just practice a little. All right, let's go ahead and scoot down to charity. Over 37,000 players contributed to charity through D&D Beyond. Once again, giving doesn't make you a better DM, but it does make you a kinder DM. So be sure to go ahead and donate to your favorite charities. Claimbles. Claimbles are pre-generated characters you can choose from, and part of, I think, of our monthly freebie that you get. You got some pre-generated characters based on Baldur's Gate 3. I have not played Baldur's Gate 3. I have not seen this character, but I can clearly see why people might want to choose him. Kind of cool looking guy, right? All right, let's go ahead and scoot down to characters. Average age of characters created, 28, which if you're in your young 20s, I can see why you would choose that number. I am older, so I tend to skew older. I have old wizards and old fighters and those kind of things. Average current level of characters created, 4.77. So when I started in D&D, it was always start at first level. That's just where you started, and then you had to work your way up. It was more of a, you got to do the full experience. You got to gut your way through. And then as I became a DM and I wanted people to start experiencing what their character could be, I started starting them out and giving them third level pre-made characters so they could see the potential of leveling up. Now, starting at first level is fine. Starting at third level is fine. Some people in OSR and other places want to start at level 0, and you are a bum, and you have to beg for food and work your way up that way. I don't know if that's my favorite style, but hey, if that's your jam, cool for you. But yeah, so I think if this shows us anything, it's okay to start if people are starting at 5th level. Okay, well, that's interesting. So you start at 5th level versus starting at 3rd level. 3rd level is when you start to get your cool stuff, right? 5th level, you get some other things going on when you hit that level. And I'm going to do a video. I have a kind of a what-if scenario as to play through levels faster, so stay tuned for that. But I do find it interesting that if you're going to play with people, would you start people at 5th level? I'd be interested in your opinion. Leave me a comment down below. Okay, let's move on to the next stat here. Names. Most popular, still Bob. Bob is a popular name. It's, listen, if you have players around your table who don't know what to name their character, it probably would be helpful as you as a DM to have a list of names. I try to have a list of names mostly for NPCs, but I will throw those names out to brand new players. Say, look, if you're struggling, how about this, or how about this name, or how about that name? And I'll cross them off my NPC list and let them choose from that. But if people want to name their character Bob, let them name him Bob. Who cares, right? All right, most growth. Link. That may have to do with link, the video game that came out last year, Serafina and Lyra. Now, I find this interesting because I would love to see like a list of it may be out there, list of most popular names, character names from 1986, let's say, like baby names, right? If you look through baby names, you can go back to the early 1900s, 1800s, 1700s. You can go back and say, wow, look at all these crazy names you could choose from, or what they used to name their kids. I'd be interested to know what characters were named in 1986 or 1995 or whatever it is. But I think if nothing else, this shows you a trend, and these are names that you might want to write down as part of the list of names you would give one of your new players. Say, hey, how about one of these names? And then what about the names that are declined? Because in D&D Beyond, you are given a name, when your character is created, if you don't put a name in. And the names are Bruno, Eddie, and Rando, which, by the way, I think are fine NPC names. So go ahead and write those down. But your players may not want to name their characters any of those names. All right, and onward to species or races, whichever you prefer. We have human, elf, dragonborn, and tiefling in the top 4. And that tracks. Human tends to be the most popular race or species people choose because I think people identify with that. They don't know how to play an elf, or they don't know how to play a dragonborn or a tiefling. So human sounds good to them. It sounds like something they just can't mess up, right? Because they're human. And what I think this tells us about being a DM is about limiting the choice of species or races that you offer brand new players. If you haven't seen my video where I teach DMs how I teach new players how to play, I'll put a link up there where you can check that out. But I say that you should limit the amount of species and classes too that you should allow people to choose from, because there's the curse of too many choices. And so if I limit the choices and say this is what you get to choose from, it's easier on me, it's easier on them, and then they won't sit there and go, oh my gosh, what should I play, what should I play? What I'm a little disappointed in is the little people, dwarf, halfling, gnome, all the little people. Why are the little people so unpopular? I like those. I like those races. I like those species. And so this tells me a little bit about what people are choosing. So maybe I need to offer, human, elf, dragonborn, tiefling, more so than I offer some of the others. If those are popular choices and people want to play those, then I should add those to my list of species that I do offer. Now listen, just because some of these races are at the end here doesn't mean you can't offer them. The Aarakocra has 80,000 people chose that. Goliath, 100,000 people chose that. And so it's not like they're not unpopular, just they're not the most popular. So you can always throw them in if you like. Okay, moving on to the last little bit of data that I think will help you and I become better dungeon masters is classes. So when we look at this, we see fighter, rogue, barbarian, wizard. Fighters around the 300,000, over the 300,000 mark. Rogue is just over 300,000. Barbarians just hitting a little bit above 300,000. And Wizard just a little over 200,000. So once again, in my video where I am sharing about how I teach new players, I offer them a limited amount of choices when it comes to classes, because the curse of choices, too many, you get just, your brain locks up because there's just too many choices. So I try to make sure, hey, listen, you're going to choose from 4. Now, I offer cleric because I want them to have a healer in the group. They don't know that, though. They don't know how dangerous it's going to be. If they're brand new players, they have no idea what's going to happen. And so to them, a cleric is just another thing. But fighter, rogue, barbarian, wizard, that's a perfectly fine grouping of people, right? It's not your traditional, fighter, rogue, wizard, cleric, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But this tells me that maybe I need to go ahead and expand my list a little bit and throw in barbarian more. With the party that I'm doing this weekend, I have a couple of more barbarians. I have a couple of extra rogues, but fighter, just like human, I have plenty of those because I think these are 10-year-old boys, and I think they're just going to want to fight stuff. They're just going to want to slaughter everything in their path. And so I have made sure that I have some pre-gen fighters for them to choose from. Now, once again, just because they're towards the end there, you have druid and sorcerer and bard and those things. Those are up around 200,000 as well. And even the artificer is almost hitting the 80,000 mark. They're not lesser characters. They're just not as popular as some. But that doesn't mean you can't include an artificer or sorcerer or any of those things. So feel free to add in those classes that make sense for the group of people that you are playing with, just like I'm choosing fighter for a bunch of 10-year-old boys. Okay, so that was the D&D Beyond list of what was going on in D&D Beyond, about classes chosen, species chosen, all those little things. I'd like to know, what would you like to know? What are some data points from D&D Beyond you would like to know about that would help you as a DM? Leave me some comments down below. And of course, if you really, really, really like this video, we'll go ahead and click that thumbs up button that tells me you like it and you want more of it. So that's it for today, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.